you have so many pleasant surprises when you live here. Like people in the streets, they're completely opening up, friendly to foreigners. It's a surprise, and it's a very pleasant surprise.
Like the traffic, that must drive you crazy though, coming from like the Autobahn country.
Here there's also no speed limit for scooters.
That is true.
Happy New Year and welcome to the video series Europeans in Taiwan. Throughout the entire year of 2023, you'll be following me and Mumu along, traveling around all over Europe while still being here in Taiwan. This video series is funded by the Office of the European Union here in Taiwan, which also means that you will have a chance to win these amazing gifts straight from the European Union when I am making videos with the representatives or other community members from Europe here in Taiwan. So please keep an eye out for the EU in Taiwan hashtag on social media, and we will start right away with heading to the German Institute office here in Taipei for a little chat with the Director for Political Affairs, Andreas.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Who is Andreas?
Andreas is a normal German guy working for the Foreign Office. I came here this summer in August with my family. Kids go to school, I go to work, and that's about me. The last years I spent in Berlin, and now I'll be here for like 3-4 years.
What would you say has been like your first impressions of Taiwan, and did you know about Taiwan before coming here?
I studied Chinese in university.
Okay.
So I had kind of theoretical knowledge of what is Taiwan, basically like history and politics. And then I was here for holiday, and we came here. We liked it so much, so that's why we decided to return. And I had some image, but I mean, what nobody can prepare you for is, I think, is like the heat in summer,
yeah,
and the weather in winter. Especially coming from Central Europe, the heat in summer is really when you arrive in August with 3 young children who are just like active and running around, and they're just like melting outside.
That's like a very European thing, like always complaining about the weather no matter where you are. How has your daily life been different living here in Taiwan versus living back home in Berlin?
Our life is centered more or less around our children. First thing is we want them to be happy, and then that makes life like very easy. That's very nice in Taiwan actually, because people are so kind and nice when you have children. Such a pleasant surprise when you arrive here. So that really made arriving here very, very, very easy. For us it's also exotic. I mean, it's completely new environment, especially for the children. So we get to discover new things all the time. So that's really great. I mean, for everybody. You need to step out of the door and you experience new things every day. And that's the great part of like the first month of arriving in such a different place.
What would you say has been like the greatest either like surprise or experience you've had here in Taiwan that you were like, this would never happen in Germany?
I always considered Germany to be a like very rainy country. Then you have like 5 days of rain in a row and it just doesn't stop. And I didn't have any rubber boots and all the time, wet shoes and wet feet. So that was really kind of annoying. But then again, I mean, you have so many pleasant surprises when you live here. Like people in the streets, they're completely opening up, especially with children. The feeling people are more open and friendly to foreigners. It's a surprise, and it's a very pleasant surprise.
How are we with food, Taiwanese versus German food? Because I have lived in Taiwan for 11 years, and I still, like to this day, feel that it's a little bit of like a daily challenge trying to like navigate through the Taiwanese cuisine.
Yeah, well, when we arrived the first few months, we lived basically inside the Shili night market. Okay. And when I left the door, I had this distinct smell of chou tofu in my nose, and that
like, I mean, straight into like the
straight into the cloud of chou tofu, and that I have to say I cannot get used to. But of course, there's many other things. Like I'm a big fan of dumplings.
Okay.
So coming here is a little bit like heaven. Like xiao long bao, xiao mai, gua bao, everything. So that's really I really like it a lot. So also this is part of the experience, and this is also something I like a lot.
I was trying to like get away from the German stereotypes, but then you prepared the table with beer and pretzels in the most diplomatic way possible. How would you describe the difference between Taiwan beer? I assume that you've had it. You've been here for like more than a day. Then of course the German will find a Taiwanese beer.
Yeah, I think Germans have a very traditional way of appreciating beer. So we have this called Reinheitsgebot. It's like a 500-year-old law of purity. So beer can only be made of 3 ingredients actually. Okay. It's water, malt, and hop, and nothing else. So all the flavor you want to generate, you have to generate with these 3 ingredients. So that's kind of a very traditional style. And then it's part of local identity, Taiwan style, more for the pleasure and more experimental.
So Germans don't drink beer for the pleasure.
I mean,
we drink it for the tradition.
No, we drink it for the tradition, and we also drink it because it's just part of everyday life. So basically, when you sit down with people and you want to have a good time, normally there's beer on the table.
For someone who has never heard of Oktoberfest, can you just quickly try to explain that for a Taiwanese audience?
Okay, well, biggest festival in the world. I think like it's several million people visiting every year. So the main thing happens in big tents full of 1,000 people. There's a lot of beer drinking and eating fried chicken and pork knuckles. So it's come to think, it's very Taiwanese. It's very like Renau and not so typically German in a way.
Yeah, you're basically explaining like a Taiwanese like Röchao.
Yeah.
With a tent.
yeah, exactly. And it's basically it's just entertainment. So people come there, they drink, they eat, they have roller coaster rides, they have all kinds of.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's like the 2 weeks of going crazy in Germany, and we need this. Germany is normally very like emotions tend to be a little bit subdued. So German traditions are very much like this. You have this limited time where you just go crazy. Like German people as you would never see them the rest of the year.
It sounds like you just go to a Röchao, you put up a tent just to get like the tent experience, and then you go to a KTV. Taiwanese people are also like very like, they don't want to like make a lot of like fuss, but then you let them go loose in the KTV and it's like beer dancing on the tables and it's like perfect. It sounds like...
It's one thing that connects us.
It sounds just the same now. What's the story about the pretzels?
One of my hobbies, what I just like to do is baking.
So you made these pretzels yourself?
So I also baked the bread for my family.
Really? Because like in Taiwan, I would say that one of the biggest stereotypes is not the beer, but it's the German bakeries. This is really good. I promise, I will tell you this off camera as well. They're actually really, really good. Ich habe 3 Jahre Deutsch studieren, aber meine Deutsch nicht gut. Just to give you an idea of just how complicated German could be, I actually have a test for you here.
Oh wow.
It's only one word. So it starts on this side of the paper and it goes all the way there.
Grundstücksverkehrsgenehmigungszuständigkeitsübertragungsverordnung. That's a nice word.
If there are any Taiwanese people watching this, they've seen the pretzels, they've seen the beer, and they want to go to Germany, what is the one sentence in German that they should know?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean,
Eine Pilsner bitte.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get around, ein Bier bitte is always very helpful. Ich spreche leider kein Deutsch. Unfortunately, I don't speak German. People are getting used to foreigners being there and they speak to them in German. Language also reflects a nation's characters. Germans like rules and order and everything.
Yeah.
So the tough part of learning German is the grammar.
If Taiwanese people want to go and visit Germany, is there anything that they should know in advance?
Depending on the time when you go, pack some warm clothes. That's a good advice. Sometimes it's a very complicated country. With life being very digital here and like people basically running around with a mobile phone in front of their eyes all the time, it's not so true in Germany. So Germany is not such a digitalized country.
Oh, really?
So in some places you might not get far just by using your phone. So it might be helpful to be old school, to have like a travel guidebook where you can really read things and know whom to call and what bus to take at what time. And then don't always believe the stereotypes. So if you're traveling in Germany, Germans tend to be viewed as very like much being on time and always like everything is in order. This is not true for the German railway. So if you're traveling through Germany and you have a flight to Frankfurt and you want to make it to Berlin in time or to Munich, always count some extra minutes or hours.
Or just take the Autobahn.
Or just take the Autobahn. Yeah, but you might be in a traffic jam also.
Oh, I thought there was like no traffic jams, just like 300 kilometers per hour.
I'll leave it to that stereotype.
Okay. A lot of other foreigners, like the one thing, if they would complain about living in Taiwan or Taipei specifically, like the traffic would always be like the number one after the weather. That must drive you crazy though, coming from like the Autobahn country and just like being stuck in a 99-second Taipei traffic light.
Kind of frustrating sometimes. I sometimes have the impression that here there's also no speed limit for scooters.
That is true.
So that's really terrifying sometimes, especially when you have like 2 kids on your hands, like you're walking down the street without a sidewalk and it's wrong. Actually, I have to admit I'm not such a big fan of no speed limits. Generally, I'm more of a cyclist. So living in Berlin, I would commute with my bike, and that's something. I mean, it's nice to cycle here, but not in everyday traffic.
Right.
So driving on the sidewalk's not really my type of thing.
But Taiwan is a great place for you then.
Yeah.
There's so many like mountain roads you can take, and it's like. Have you had time to like explore Taiwan outside of Taipei yet?
A little bit, yeah. We went to the east of Taiwan, to Hualien, and down there.
On a bike?
No, on the train. Looking at traffic, you also have to say something very positive, because I ride the MRT every day, and this is super convenient. That's something. It's also not like in Germany when you have like trains not really on time. So every day it works, and you have trains every like 3 minutes, and that's super good too.
If Germans are watching this video, is there anything else that you can give them advice on how it is living here in Taiwan for someone who has never been here?
Personally, recommend everybody to come to Taiwan, because it's such a wonderful experience. It's actually very, very easy to arrive here and to settle down and to immediately like it. So when you have visitors coming over, they just there's no big barrier or something. They just arrive here, they taste some of the food, they go out in the street, and they, especially when it's still warm, and they just enjoy it. So basically, I would say just come, experience it yourself, and you will like it.
You have been kind enough to invite me here to your office, which is in Taipei 101, German Institute in Taipei. What can you tell me about the Institute, and what do you guys actually do other than drinking beer and eating pretzels?
Yeah, that takes up most of our time actually. But
at least you're honest.
At least I'm honest. Yeah, that's the one other stereotype about Germans. Yeah. So I'm from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Most of my colleagues also are. We hand out visas and we hand out passports to Germans. Kind of try to improve ties in all aspects, like culturally, economically, but also politically. And that's what we do. I mean, we report back home to give our government kind of an update of what the situation here is like. So Taiwan has attracted a lot of attention recently. That's kind of what we do. We also organize events for the German community. We have this big German National Day. Visitors coming from Germany, representatives of companies, and we would kind of lead them around the city, meet. That's actually the interesting part, because you get to know a lot of people, get to see a lot of places. So we have to kind of explain Germany, but we also have to ask about Taiwan, and because people in Germany are also interested. So it's a two-way process. The economy is the basis. So I think Germany is the biggest trading partner in the EU by far. Taiwan is not such a small partner actually for Germany. So when you take it per capita, it's the biggest trading partner in Asia. That is kind of the basis of everything, and around that we try to improve ties in all different aspects, just to have more exchange, to have more understanding. And I think it's also important for Taiwan to be heard in the world, what we do in the region, and kind of establish this context so you really understand each other. Of course, you always see the German cars in the street. Everybody likes these cars. Also a stereotype, but they're not that bad.
But not as good as Volvo.
Especially in renewable energy, there's a lot of German companies now active. So when you have these wind turbines built in the Taiwan Strait, a lot of them are built by German companies.
So if people are watching this video and they want to know more about the German Institute, or just German and Taiwan relationship in general, where can they go?
We have some events, so people might be able to also join these events at some point. For kind of official information to travel to Germany, like German-Taiwan relations, go to our website. You don't need a visa to travel to Germany, so actually you don't need that much information.
Only thing you need to know, bring a lot of clothes and eine Bier bitte.
Well, that will get you very far.
And if you want to know more about the German Institute, Germany, other European countries, or the relationship between Europe and Taiwan, you can of course visit the European Economic and Trade Office on social media, both Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And they will also have a contest where you can actually win some of these Momo and European gifts there as well. All you have to do is to follow them on social media and follow their instructions when this video is being shared on their social media as well. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. Starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.